Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to Discussions. Oh, it's been about a week and a half or so. Been real busy. I was getting ready to go downstairs, get ready for work. Picked up an extra shift tonight. Waiting for some paperwork to be QA'd before I turn it in. My wife always looks over how I write. I'm not the best writer, so we get that back. Then I'm going to get some stuff turned in. So this is not going to be a long one. Going to be kind of a short one here. Because I got to get some things done and a little rest before I go in tonight. So, what is happening? We had a first week of clinical, just one day of clinical. We do them every Tuesday. We're at a nursing home, a really nice nursing home. And we were, well, not each of us, but they paired us up in twos. And we spent a couple hours with one of the residents, with residents there, just one person. And then we had to do our patient care plan. So with that being said, it was wasn't as bad as I thought. I will say, coming from EMS, being around people, talking to people, things do not bother me. Do not bother me. What gets me is, now you're talking long-term care or hospital care. Even hospital care doesn't bother me. But let's say like this, like with this patient here, this resident here. We come to find out, well, we had to give her a bed bath. I'm like, doesn't bother me. But I'm sitting here thinking, well, how, not per se, yeah, I'll say, how we're going to do this. I mean, what's the procedure? I saw videos on it on how to do it. But I am so thankful that I had one of my co-students who was with me. She used to do things like this at MedSurg. She goes, no problem. And I'm going to tell you something, I followed her lead and I learned. She went in the closet, got the stuff out, got going on it, and taught me. I'm like, oh, okay. It wasn't hard, but it's a little you get up in people's personal space. You got to take the clothes off. You got to wash them, dry them, and get them dressed. And so it is a little odd and a little different. But I learned how to do that, and while doing it, I learned how to change the bed linens all at the same time while doing this. So it was very educational for me on that end right there. We had a great, sweet patient, no problems there. And so with that, typing up the care plan. Maybe I'll get a little more into that right there. I'm not going to give it a bad rap. All new nursing students who has gone, well, all nurses has nothing good to say about these care plans. But you know what? It's part of the game. It's something that we got to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and buckle down and do it. And do it the best of my ability, get a good grade, and move on to the next subject. Well, it won't even be the next subject. We're going to be doing these until we are done seeing patients there. So, with that being said, I was thinking on a topic to talk about. Sitting here thinking, what can we elaborate on? And I listened to this podcast. I was trying to find it, what it was. It was titled. It was an EMS podcast. It was teaching about, are you set on your diagnose of a patient that you have in the back of an ambulance or in the back of a helicopter or whatever, during an emergency situation. Are you set on, I'm going to go down this path, what I'm seeing here with my patient, and start treating with this patient here. So I listened to it, and it was talking about how sometimes we can get so tunnel vision in on, I'm going to go down this road, I'm going to start treating this patient, but if I don't keep a broad view on what's really going on, I can miss some really critical stuff on doing patient care. So made me started thinking about another thing about learning how to pivot. And this is something not new coming from me. This is things I've read on, listened to some things about learning how to pivot in life. And so it makes me start to think about, I've done it several times in the back ambulance where I had to pivot my patient care because maybe something came up, maybe something I got tunnel vision and I missed something, and I had to backtrack and go down another road of patient care. So where am I going with all this is it's that learning to pivot. You need to learn in your life to where, how can I pivot in life? And you may be doing something, going down a certain, let's say, a certain way you study. Maybe there's a certain way that you study and you're realizing that certain method is not working for this certain subject, where you're going to have to pivot and find a new way to study. Make small changes that you need to do. The big thing that I can really think about is, with my work situation, made me start to think, I'm like older fella here, and I have not been to my chiropractor since August. I'm not complaining. I know it sounds like a little bit, but I have not been adjusted. I had not had my hip adjusted, have not had my back adjusted since August. And because, I usually work Fridays and Saturdays, or I work till Saturday night, or, it all mixes up. But there's only certain days I can see my chiropractor. He works 2 different offices, one in the upstate and one here. And so with that being said, I have to learn. I was just thinking, how can I do this? And I started thinking, well, you know what? I'm going to have to pivot my work schedule. I'm going to have to change things up. It may not be what I want to do, but it's going to be something that I'm going to have to do. And the sad thing with this is no, everybody in healthcare, I'd say mainly hospitals, gigantically in EMS, everybody's short. Everybody's short on nurses and techs and janitorial services. Everybody's short of paramedics. Everybody's short of EMTs of the truck. So why am I saying this now? Well, my pivot and my change I'm going to have to make to better myself, where I can take care of myself, is I figured out how I can get my hours in and not work Saturdays. And that's the only day that I have to see my chiropractor. So I am learning to pivot. I'm learning to change my schedule up to where I'll be able to get my hours and to take care of myself. With that being said, that it's going to leave some people real shorthanded on weekends to work. Well, and that makes me feel bad, but I can't go on feelings. You got to take care of yourself. And with that being said, that's something else one of our instructors were talking about today. We're talking about, self-preservation. We're talking about taking care of yourself in the health field. Very important thing, both physically and mentally, taking care of yourself. And so I think that subject, I'm not going to go down that road right now. Maybe that'd be something else I'll pick up on, and we can talk about that later on in another podcast here. So with that being said, don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to make changes in your life that will better yourself, even though it may not better others. It may leave your other job a little shorthanded. But remember, you're studying to be a nurse, you're working, you're a parent, you're a spouse to someone, boyfriend, girlfriend, you're busy. There's a lot going on. But if you don't take care of yourself, then everything else is going to fail. And if you don't make pivots in your habits and your study habits of things that take care of you, it's going to reflect in your schoolwork. So with that being said, learn to pivot, don't be afraid to pivot, and move forward. Well, that's about it for right now. It was short and sweet and to the point. Got to get myself ready for work, and I will catch y'all hopefully next week. So with that being said, you have a good weekend, and thank you again for tuning in and listening to Discussions.